All right, before we get started, the deputy clerk will swear everybody in that is going to participate in a hearing here at the 1 o'clock session. Okay?
You'll be speaking. If you'll please stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that any testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Ma'am, are you going to be talking at all?
No.
Okay, then I'd ask you to step back then if you're not going to be talking.
All right, this is what's going to happen. Under Idaho Code 63501, the Board of County Commissioners are required to convene as the Board of Equalization. We're here to determine market value under Idaho Code 63205, which states that all real, personal, and operating property subject to property taxation must be assessed annually at market value for assessment purposes as of 12:01 a.m. of the first day of January in the year in which such property taxes are levied. Furthermore, under Idaho Code 63502, the function of the Board of Equalization shall be confined strictly to assuring that the market value for assessment purposes of property has been found by the assessor, and to the functions provided for in Chapter 6, Title 63, Idaho Code relating to exemptions for taxation. The taxpayer shall have the burden of proof in seeking affirmative relief to establish that the determination of the assessor is erroneous. A preponderance of the evidence shall suffice to sustain the burden of proof. We are here to discuss the market value of the property, the condition, the state, or information that is relevant to this topic. This is fact and not opinion. We are not here to discuss taxes, past grievances, policy, personal income, or other issues. If you do not stick to the discussion as requested, your time will be reclaimed. So the property owner will be given 3 minutes. The white light will come on, yellow light will come on after a minute. When the red light comes on, your time is up. The assessor will then be given 3 minutes. We can ask some questions, and then there will be 2 minutes of closing comments. Be kind, direct all questions or comments to the board. If your conduct is out of line, you will be warned once. If you continue to be out of line, you will be asked to leave or escorted out of the building. Please state your name, and then your time will begin.
Okay, do I have to push?
Nope, it's already
Okay.
on. And just so everybody knows, this is being broadcast to the public. There's a camera back there and a camera up here, so everybody that's watching in TV land can see you. So only say stuff that you feel comfortable saying.
Okay, my name is Ivan Anderson. What else did you need?
Just go ahead and give us your...
Okay, so I guess the whole rundown, the appraisal on my property came in at $611,900, I believe it was. That puts us in a range where we've been looking for other property to build another house and move. So had a realtor come over and kind of check things out and figure out what we could put it on the market for. He said with the condition of the house and the square footage and everything, looking at the house, he assumed $525,000 to $550,000. So this is more than, well, this is almost 7 months after the January 1st date, and that is a significant gap. So I came in and filed the appeal. One thing, it turns out the assessor's office was assuming I have a completely finished house, and in the basement I have 1 bedroom that is finished, and I have a hobby room that's finished. Even though the floor in the hobby room, I stain the concrete. It's in the basement. It doesn't have an actual normal flooring in it, but I would still consider that finished. So on the phone today, they were willing to adjust the square footage that was finished. I did go out and calculated in the basement. Absolute maximum possible square footage that I would consider finished is, I believe it's 395.125 square feet. And that would be going clear out to the outer edge of like the door jambs and everything. And I did not include the 45-degree corners cut off in rooms, which is a couple square feet or something. So anyway, given that this is supposed to be valuation based off of January 1st, assuming that there's about a 5% increase in property values between January 1st and I believe it was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when I had the real estate agent looking at my place. That would bring the value as of January 1st down to between $500,000 and $525,000.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, I don't know anything else.
No,
Like, I've never been through this.
So
So.
that's fine.
Okay.
We'll turn some time over to the assessor's office.
Okay.
Okay, I did make a phone call. Looked like we had our finished square footage off. And I did calculate it at 495, but I just recalculated it at 395, which would bring it in at, let's see, get to the right screen. $559,027, and that is with 395 square foot of finish. Looking at comparables, and I noticed that a couple of appellants' comparables are the same ones that I used. These are all comparables just right there, right in the vicinity, within a block or two. I really liked them. They also emphasized what we do is we won't go for the low homes, we won't go for the high, we shoot for the median. And subject property is coming in at 142 per square foot. So to keep them equitable, and our cells are showing us, and there's hundreds of cells that go into this that analyze square foot, year built, but our records show that subject property should be in at 559,000, and we would recommend bringing that value in to reflect the unfinished basement.
Comment?
I have no idea what the comparables are. The houses that sold in the last couple of years, I believe were all brand new construction, and our house is 8 years old. That's kind of the only rebuttal I would have to that, and that might roll into the condition of our house. So I don't know if it's relevant or not, but things like with, they're putting in a new neighborhood around us. There's been a lot of construction that's actually shaken our house and caused quite a bit of damage. So the concrete in the garage, the water does not drain out. It has settled, it drains in, that needs to be replaced. We have cracks in the walls that I need to replace. The landscaping, the dirt has all settled, so I no longer have drainage away from the house. I think those are probably personal. I don't know how they would come into the overall scheme of things, but I believe that would come into the feedback I got from my realtor looking at it. That's a discrepancy. I don't know how that comes into play with this. Like I said, I've never had to deal with this, so I don't know. But
Okay.
other than that, like I said, I think I'm between 500 and 525.
Okay,
But
thank you.
that's all I have.
Thank you. Board, questions, comments?
I just, that was just one thing was with the basement, some of the comparables, you have some 142 a foot for the subject, and then comparable one's 166. The other two are quite low at 129 and 125, and I'm kind of curious to why.
That's the question. Is that with the adjusted,
I'm just trying to calculate.
That is with
Square
the
foot.
time adjustment,
That's with the
bringing it into January 1,
Yeah.
yes.
What's
but
the
taking
new-
it to the 396?
That's the new
Let's see.
square footage in the basement is 1396.
The new square footage in the basement is 395,
Oh, just a total of 395.
yes.
For the square footage, and then you have total above grade. Hold on a second. I want to do some math for a second. And you were saying for a total,
559, 027.
and that was with your land, the 559, right? Hold on one second. Sorry, I'm doing some math right now. Oh, sorry. I fat-fingered the calculator. I left my TI 84 at home. So, if I drop the square footage on that and change the square footage, it goes to a square footage price of $196 a foot then. Of total finish.
It will change.
It would jack the square footage price up big time.
Yeah.
That's the problem that I'm having here is you, I mean, I definitely think it's in the five. I mean, you have a house, believe it or not, those houses up there are worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I think you're turned up a little in the thing, even if you just took the,
So with the new square footage,
yeah, if,
times 142, what
um,
value do you come up with?
yeah, that's what I wanted to, hold on one second. Come on, calculator. Times 2327. That'd be 330, 434, plus your 93,000 for your land, plus you have outbuildings and stuff on your property?
I've got a shed, it's 10 by 12 or 12 by 14 or something, but there is a shed in the backyard, like lawnmower, garden tool stuff.
40. That'd bring your total house to, with those improvements that it had, your land improvements, it'd bring it in at 436,774.
And there is one house there's two houses in the neighborhood that are pending. They are smaller. One of them is the same age as my house, I believe, or close to it. It's pending, and it was up for sale for $450. Now, I realize that's this year's price, and it is, overall, I believe it's a little bit smaller. I don't know how much, but.
So if you just took the 142 a foot of what you brought in for price per square footage before we adjust the basement, take your total finished living space, that's the 1,982 upstairs, the 395, that's 2,377 times that by 144. Add the 93,000 for land and the 13,340 for your outbuildings and other etc. garage adjustment. That gives you 436,774.
And Zillow has current market at 554, so why don't we split the middle and go, because I feel like that's probably a fair adjustment.
Okay.
Let's see what that works out to be.
I mean,
What'd you say, Terrell?
I said the total on everything is 436,774.
436,774.
Then yeah, you're probably somewhere in the middle. I mean,
$495 is what it comes out.
you want to make a motion?
Yeah. What does that do to our price per square foot real quick?
$495. If you follow their adjustments, 13,340, and minus their land at 933. Divide that by 2377. That's 163 a foot. That's the highest. I mean, that's the highest out of.
One comparable, 166.
Like I said, I don't have a problem keeping it at 436 right now.
Fine.
I mean, if they're time adjusting the other comparables right now and we have some market evaluation or appreciation from January, I'm okay with that.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, a parcel number RPR PWR2001000, I would move that the property value be adjusted to $436,744 with that value adjustment being made off of the improvement.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we've adjusted your property, total value of $436,744.
Okay.
Both you or the assessor's table also have the opportunity to appeal this to the state or to the courts. But other than that, I would say that your hearing is closed.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Anderson, thank you for bringing in a preponderance of evidence to give us something to look at and make a decision on.
Yes.
That's how it should be done. Well done.
Oh, okay.
All right,
Yep.
thank you.
Never
Most
been
people
through it.
come in and they don't have anything and they just want
Okay.
to, yeah, so thank you for.
I am an engineer, so I do kind of.
Ah, I figured.
Sorry about
Looking for a
that.
job?
Are you a dirt engineer?
No, I'm semiconductor.
Oh.
We don't want to talk to you.
I was hoping you were civil.
Mr. Thornley,
Thanks.
please announce your name and
Scott
your
Thornley,
3 minutes will begin.
3835 Ridgewood Road, Pocatello. Okay, the reason that I came in and filed an appeal was when I opened my assessment notice and saw my property value had gone up 39%, from $73,000 to $101,000. I was shocked. The value of the house went up 27%. Nothing's happened to my property from last year to this year to justify an increase of 39%. It hasn't gotten any bigger. We haven't discovered oil on it. The view's still the same. The land is the land. It had value when it was purchased. When it had structure on it, the value of that land ceased to possibly increase. Housing increases. The land can't increase. That's a fact. Every time a developer develops property, they set a price to make a profit. The market value is going to establish what kind of profit they make. When I was talking to the neighbor lady that built a house next to me, she said, "What'd you pay for your land, for your lot?" And I said, $60,000. She rolled her eyes and she said, "Uh-oh." And I says, "What?" And she says, "We just paid $90,000 for our lot." So I understand the value of land and the value of a house increases according to popular demand. You know, if I've got a great lot that doesn't have anything on it and I want to purchase it for an investment and hoping that it increases by 50% in 5 years, so be it. But once I built my house on that land doesn't have any more value. It doesn't have any more use. That $60,000 that I paid for that was to build a house on, a nice house. If we continue going down this same road, we're going to be priced out of our houses. I don't know where it's going to end. I'm looking for a voice of reason. Hopefully it's sitting in those chairs in front of me, saying, you know what, it's going to happen to all of us sooner or later. I'm a pensioner, just like the British say. My wife and I are retired. I always tell her the two words that ladies hate to hear: fixed income. That's what we're on. But if the taxes continue to go up and up and up, what are we going to do? So it's a fact that a property owner and a citizen should depend on the government to take care of them, not to be afraid of them.
Okay, thank you. Assessor table?
Comparable cells are all within a few blocks of subject property, and they're all subject property built in 2009, comparable cells 2006, 2005, and 2000. Comparable subject properties coming in at $134 per square foot, per finished square foot. Subject comparable cell 1 is coming in at $138, comparable cell 2 $163, and comparable cell 3 $168. Thank you.
Okay. Comment?
I'm not talking about,
Mr.
Okay, it's not, we're not going on.
Mr. Chairman, I'll
Okay, go
just
ahead.
address this. So first of all, you have a causation and correlation that you're making that land does not appreciate and houses do, and that is not correct. Improvements depreciate, land appreciates. That is a proven fact. That is, I mean, sorry, I have a master's in public administration and I can classify myself as the subject matter expert on this. So that's a fact, okay? So your argument that land depreciates is not correct.
I didn't say.
Because, so the whole problem is you're stating that land does not change value is your argument. That's not correct. And when you state up here that the board, that we should have some thought process and make sure that we're doing that for the taxpayers of this community. Your land is worth value. Your house, over time, will depreciate. When the land is then worth more than the house, they'll scrape the house and build a new house on it or a new structure. So that argument does not hold water. So when you say that we should have some judgment and we should do that, I'm well aware of that. And I have pensioners that are parents, and I have other people in this community that we watch out for. So if the argument is that your land should never be adjusted because it's only worth what you paid for it, that is an incorrect fallacy. That is not correct, and I don't appreciate that you come in and you say that we need to use better judgment, we need to do that. That is the problem here, is that, hold on, sir, so I'm going to tell you, we will use our judgment, and that is not correct. So that's where I say that doesn't work.
Okay, let's get back to.
I don't, excuse me,
We're going to get back to the BOE right here, okay?
where's the
Okay.
hostility
Okay.
coming from?
Let me get back to what we're talking about here, okay? Comments, Commissioner Huff?
I agree with Commissioner Tubby that the land does have increased value, and where his square, and I'm looking at all the lots around him, and he's got one of the smaller lots on the block, and it is priced less than those bigger around him, so I'm pretty comfortable with where things are at.
I'd ask for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we uphold the assessed value on the property.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
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 So we upheld the assessor's value. Like I said, you have the ability to appeal to the state or to the courts. You can go to the clerk's office and there's the ability to get the appeal forms from there. Other than that, I'd say that this hearing is done. Thank you. All right. Wayne? Please introduce yourselves.
Okay, my name is
3 minutes will
Huang.
begin.
Yeah. The property value increased for my house from 342,000
Mr.
to
Chair.
448,000.
Hold on.
You didn't introduce yourself, please?
Oh,
Both of you?
Hai Ming.
yeah.
And
he's
your
my
name?
husband, yeah.
Yeah.
We're the co-owner of our property. And then our property value increase, an increase of 31%. I see this with absolutely no rational explanation. National real estate price has risen last year according to the data shown on Realtor.com. The median home price appreciation of just 2.8% in 2022. There's just no concrete evidence to support the high percentage rise of my housing price shown in your letter. And the Fitch rating found Pocatello has the country's 60 most overvalued housing market, with housing overvalued by 22.8%. Besides, I have no improvements and upgrades in my house to support a large percentage of increased property tax. And then your representative Celeste came to my house this morning, and then she made some assessment of some of the damage to my house. I have water damage to the outside walls and inside of the garage, and the concrete slab cracked. And also I have water damage in my upstairs bathroom and downstairs bathroom. Walls cut open and water leakage to the downstairs floors. And I got mold issues in my upstairs bathroom. And also, I don't know how you calculate the percentage finished in my basement. I know I have a big storage room, and then the walls are up, but the concrete slabs are there. I know I have no flooring, and then I got a utility room in the basement, and that's not finished. So, I mean, that's about like 650 square footage unfinished. I don't know how you calculate the price per square feet, but see the property value for 2019 to 2021 value at 342,000. I'm fine with that, but for the, if it's within the national average of 2.8% increase from the 2021, and then my home value should be $352,424. I'm fine with that, but I'm just not fine with the $448,000, an increase of 31% from last year. So,
Okay, thank you. Assessor's table?
I did go out to inspect damage done. I did go into the basement. We are showing only 702 square feet finished out of the 1,404 square feet. The area I was in was definitely finished. The home, no major updates, but it is a very nice home. I did inspect the bathroom, and there is some major damage there. Looks like they're going to have to get a plumber and a lot of drywall. I asked if they had gotten a bid or turned it into their insurance company. They had not. She did mention that a plumber they called, and it would be about $1,000, and drywall. I'm thinking it's going to be quite a bit more from just seeing the extensive damage. As far as the exterior and in the garage where water has seeped in, I did not see any major damage there. It's more, like I said, where water had seeped in. I did not go on the exterior of the garage, though I did walk around the front with the appellant, and my recommendation would be cost to cure at $15,000 with today's prices, and with the plumbing, they're going to have to take the bathtub out and redo all that plumbing, and that can get pretty expensive. And the drywall and the roof.
Questions?
Using, hold on a second here, if I may, Mr.
Go
Chair.
ahead. Go ahead.
Using Realtor.com to show a sales price on your home, they show it at $436,600. Using Zillow, they show it at $456,800. So using the things that places you looked at indicates that your assessed value is underneath what the market would say to a certain extent. So I would agree with the assessor that we make a price adjustment of $15,000 and go from there. That's where I would see it.
Mr. Chairman, I would move then on parcel RPL6000500 that we make that one-time cost to cure, adjust the total value to $433,422 with the adjustment coming off of the improvement.
Have a motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So we adjust the value down $15,000 for the things that the assessors looked at today.
Well, how much the square feet is based on this calculation? What's the compared to the nearby house? What's the square feet?
The price per foot,
150?
It's 174 on yours. First comparable is 165. Second comparable is 150, and third comparable is 184. And the
it's
average would be blended.
150. This just like we only have like 2,100 finished square feet. If it's 150, it's just like 360.
Yeah. So yeah, you're in the
and
you're bracketed.
2,100 is what they have, a total finished.
They have you bracketed between the three. They have ones lower and they have ones higher. So
average.
you're in the average. Yeah, your average you come at 174, where there's two that are less than yours and one that's more than yours. And they're all, the three that they've used as comparable cells are actually really close in upstairs and basement finish. They are all showing, there's one of them that has a full finished basement, but the other two are, one is 641 square feet, the other one's 842, where yours is 702. So these three comparables, out of actually a lot of the comparables that we've seen come through here, these three are actually really good comparables that would probably be used.
So with that being said, you do have the ability to appeal either to state or to the courts. And with that being said, I say this hearing is over. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cook?
Kurt Cook, 301 Kurtwood Drive, Hopewell, Idaho.
Okay, your 3 minutes begin.
Okay, did you get the paperwork that was sent in to you about the price of houses in my area? All of that? Or you want me to go over it all?
What we got is a letter signed by you.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
So beyond that, I want to go is, the property in my house is priced higher than anyone in my neighborhood, if you look at it. And I have just a small neighborhood there. I've got the railroad on the west side of me, on the east side of me. I got Stinker on the south side of me, no, the north side of me. And I've got an easement on my house that must be owned by Bannock County or Pocatello, Idaho. That's about a 20-foot strip there that runs alongside my house right along Bannock Highway. And nobody takes care of it. I have to maintain it. I pay for the chemicals to kill all the weeds. Pocatello doesn't ever come through and do anything. And beyond that, I've got a fire hydrant in the center of my front yard. You're right on the street, so there's no front on-street parking there at all. None. Okay? And I've got easements. The gas company decides they want to come in and dig something up. They just did it a couple of months ago, last summer. It just wiped out the whole side of my house. All my grass, everything else, dug it up, wasted the concrete pad in the back, and they come in and they pour a little bit of concrete here and there and throw gravel over everything. All my yard is done. And they can do that anytime they want. They've done it to me twice since I've lived there. I mean, I don't see any value to that at all. There's so many easements for utilities at my property, it's got to be less than anybody else's in the area.
Okay?
And, I mean, that's my complaint. I'm getting charged way too much for the price of my house.
All right, thank you. The assessor's table?
I would like to just say that on this appraisal, and I was not able to see it, but I did jump in to see what 359 Matwood, and it is a total of 1,680 square foot of finish, where subject property is 203 square foot of finish. So if that appraisal came in at 293, that puts us in the ballpark at 320.
323, 169.
323, yes. 169. And jumping to the comparable sales, looks like 1979, 1978, 1977, 1981, so they're all really tight for year built. And square footage is pretty good. And subject property is coming in at 129. Comparable 1 is 150, 2 is 125, and 3 is 147. Thank you.
Is there any adjustments there at all for the easements and?
No, we have not made any adjustments for easements.
Commissioners?
I was just looking at something right quick. Hold on one second. Come back to me. Jeff has something first.
In looking at the comparables that were used, they are different neighborhoods, and I tend to agree with the appellant that his location is not a premier location. And so again, just kind of looking at Zillow to see what's going on there right now. 350 would be pretty high for his neighborhood, just looking at that.
The question I had is, sir, you said that you went around and got that you were the highest. Where did you get that from? Was that from like did you go talk to all your neighbors, or did you?
Just off of online.
Online? Mm-hmm. So was that off of last year's values then? Because you're looking on Bannock,
No,
the GIS, or
mine.
were you looking at the GIS, or what were you looking at?
Well, my wife did it, but it was just online, and I don't know where she got it from.
Okay.
She went and looked up mine, and then looked up the rest of the neighborhood.
Okay. So the question I would have then too is, yes, because the easements and stuff that are there. Now, I will tell you, if they're ripping up your stuff and not putting it back, you can actually go after them for
I do.
stuff.
I try.
They're supposed to.
But they subcontract everything out, and I have more easements on, when they come
Yep.
out to mark up my yard,
Totally,
It's all different colors. everywhere.
totally get it. They just did a gas main under my parents, and I had to go yell and scream at some people to put it back, and they put it
Well,
back.
they've done the gas to me twice.
So
No.
the question would be, hold on one sec, sir. So on that, you have a gas easement that's on the back.
It
That's what
runs
you said?
all the way through the lot.
So from the back side or the front side or
All
where?
over
Talk to
the
me
back.
about all the back. Okay, so you can't build anything on the easement. So
No,
there.
or any of the other easements that's in my yard.
Okay, a road easement is something different. That's, you accepted that when you bought the property, and the gas easement, same thing. But at the same time, the gas easement makes it tough because you can't put a shop shed. You're not supposed to put anything over the top of that.
Yeah.
If you get caught, they get really mad at you if it's gas easement. You probably have some issue with just the location of the corner and kind of that, but not, I mean, there would probably be some issue of discussion, but not a major discussion that would be there. I mean,
I know he's
I mean-
literally in the parking lot with the stinker station.
yeah, I know, that's what I'm looking at. I mean, so, you know, I mean, you're gonna have some discussion about location, but I think that the structure itself is probably going to be within the, you know what I mean? The improvements on the structure are probably within, yeah, the correct ballpark, but the land value is probably not.
Suggestion? Recommendation?
If you watch 323, I'm okay with that. I feel like that's kind of in line with.
That's what you
That is-
you said?
But
What value did you put on the property?
I just put the whole thing. was-
320.
323 is what the assessor did.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got taxpayers.
I can look it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, hold on one sec, sir. All right. I would
10,000.
I'd probably just put the lot because it's, yeah, I would probably just set it at last year's value and leave the improvements the same.
Put the lot at last year's value.
And then it goes from 62 to 40.
Make a
Because, I mean,
motion?
you look at it, it's not a, I mean,
I'm okay with that. So, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we set on parcel RPCVW 0000100, that we set last year's land value, we set it back to last year's land value of $40,500 and leave the improvements the same. That would give us a total price of like 301,760 or 669, if my math is correct.
All right, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So, sir, we've adjusted your value of your land back to last year's value of $40,000. That gives you a total on the assessed value of $301,669. So with that being said, I'd consider this hearing closed.
Yeah, okay, I had other things to say, but that's fine.
Thank you.
Thank
thank
you.
you, sir.
Gibson.
Last but not least.
Oh, no, you're not last either.
Oh, put this over, right?
We got about 200 more to go.
Today?
No, this week.
Oh my God.
Next week.
I've actually been here a couple years ago, so you guys aren't as scary. as
I remember your face.
Oh, yes, yes, and so I'll go ahead and say my name so we can start the thing. Name is Jane Gibson, and when I had the same kind of shock look. My net assessment went up 75% from last year, and I thought, well, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere. So I thought, y'all miss me, you want to see me again? Here I am. So I went and saw Celeste, and I was very happy that the previous information that really reflected less finished square footage has been corrected in the database. I include this because, to me, it's important to establish what comparables are. If you look at my basement is inside. It's not attached, it's inside the house, so it's a basement garage. And all the spaces around it are unusable to convert to anything useful, which makes this important with respect to comparing it to other houses of equal square footage, but increased functionality. So I wanted to make that, I really have 4,000 square feet that's finished, 3,000 up, 1,000 down. So I had some realtor-provided comparables, and all these places were within the parameters that are established, and these actually are very, very close to my home. And so on the little chart I had here, I had 3 comparables, And in each case, I have 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. All of them are 4 to 6 bedrooms, 3 baths, and they have more finished square footage than my house. The land is kind of variable. So one property has the closest square footage, which is on Summit down the road, and about the same land, and more bedroom functionality. And as I said, some of them are closer to bedroom functionality, but less land. And I didn't know exactly what was more important, the functionality of the house, the acreage of the house. So I averaged all those, and I came up with approximately 595,000 of those homes, and I did put down what the close dates were. So then what I'm an engineer too, so I look for real data. And I was provided, which I gave a copy to you, the Greater Pocatello Association of Realtors property sales value. And indeed, the real estate for 2021 went up 26% during the year. Not 75%, but 26%. And what my jumps were 81% in land and 52% in my improvements. And so if you take the homeowner's exemption off, it comes up to a net taxable value increase of 75%. And so I looked on the tax estimator, and even with the proposed lower mill levy rate, it still represents a 34% increase. And so I think it's reasonable to go between those two values.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, before we go forward,
Yes.
did you send that stuff that you were referencing there into us? Because I do not see the chart.
Yes, I have an extra copy here if you.
Did you send it in, though?
Yes.
Okay.
I
yeah,
did.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I gave it
Go. You're
to your office Monday morning, bright and early.
I don't see it on the online packet. Did you see it, Terrell?
No, I don't have it on the online packet, so that's what
It's right
I'm
here.
saying.
Can we have just a minute to look at that?
Sure.
Are you a dirt engineer?
No, my husband was a dirt engineer. I'm a Sparky.
Oh, you're a Sparky?
I'm a Sparky.
Nice. Small Sparky or big Sparky? Computers or
Both.
big? Oh, okay.
Both.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Actually, I'm a manager, so that means I lost 30 points of IQ going up. So
That's what I like to hear.
yeah, but I had the big and the little.
A
working
desert
for me.
Sparky or
A
a?
desert Sparky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Fascinating. All those people were very, very much smarter than I was.
Okay, the assessor's table?
Subject property is a one-story, built 2002. It's got a lot of square footage. We are showing 2,965 square feet on the main. The basement has 1,048 square feet of finish, which is bringing it in at 152 per square foot. All of the comparables are close. They are same quality, same grade. Comparable number 1, probably the furthest one out. It's on 3500 Center. It's coming in at 157 per finished square foot. Comparable 2 on Remington is coming in at 158 per square foot. And number 3 on Granite is coming in at 167. And values are recalculated on a yearly basis based on sales within that year. So some properties will go up more than others depending on whether they were at value or not. Thank you.
Comments?
What was that one?
The other thing on this property is it looks like it's a rebound because we've had BOE in 2019 and 2020. So we're catching up with some of the BOE stuff from prior years.
The comparable one, the only question I have is because 3500 Center, they have to have full booster tanks for fire stuff that's up there because there is no water pressure, so they have to have for fire issues. So is that taken into account for the lower price on what's in there on Center? Does that, I mean, that was that's the question up there, because we've seen land values and houses up there at the top that there's no fire tanks, or there's not the water pressure, so they all have to have a independent fire system. And that was just my question, is because that one I would probably, you know, while there is good, I'd probably look at that maybe different. But the other, you know, you're kind of in a weird, I will say you have better evidence than most people do.
I know, she's got a preponderance of.
You have a preponderance of
I'm
evidence.
appreciating that a lot.
Yeah, and I had a question for you, which is, you know, the Realtor Association has collected this data for 44 years, and they have a vested interest to make it as subjective as possible. I'm sure they probably consider it proprietary information,
It is.
but maybe you could pay them for it. I mean,
We do,
Do you?
we do.
Oh, okay. Because when I asked Celeste, I said, how do you collect the data? It's like, well, if the seller gives us the information, you know, that's fine, but it seems rather subjective to me, and it might be well worth having
We have a lot.
much more subject, or
The one
objective
question
data.
that I do have, and this comes back to, is the summit, and this is a bigger discussion of yesterday, is we have lots being sold up there right now that are not selling for 100 grand up in that area. We've had a couple that are going in the high 80s and the 90s, and this one's valued at $109,000 for the land.
Right.
And that is the one thing that I would probably, as I stick, I could understand it being in the 80s. I could understand, but right now, there's several houses in some of these other packets as we've started to look that people are making and are showing contracts and other things with Satterfield Builders and other people up there that they're buying those lots for $84,000. And so I have a problem with having a land value of a 109 right now. That's the one thing. Your improvements, I'd probably say your improvements are your improvements. But your land value right now, I would probably say is in that $80,000 range. That's just as I caught that and looked.
Call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would move on parcel, or a discussion on that. I mean, I have kind of this weird on that lot we're at 109 and those lots up there, they're not selling. I mean, the new bare ground lots ready to build aren't selling for that. That's what I'm saying, is that, you know, you have some that are the extremely large, very top of the line lot that's, you know, your 1 or 2s, but most of them aren't.
The problem is, if we do that, that throws her way out of whack
And
with
that's-
all of her neighbors.
And that's your problem. But that's the issue that
Because
we're
all the
having.
neighbors are at the 109.
But that's what I'm saying, is when we come back on the lots, if we're looking at land,
Well, and that's where Commissioner Huff says, 2 other BOEs, we've come down in value on the lot both times.
I don't care how it mixes out. You know, 72%
engineer for ya.
is just horrible. You know, that's $2,000 more per year in taxes.
that's my one thing.
This is
It's
tough,
the-
I'm not sure what to
Is
do with
the property, but that's what I'm saying, is we have houses right now that are selling, they're not selling those lots for that.
So,
They're undeveloped lots.
No, they're the lots that are, the Sanford lots next to the temple. They're ready to build.
Yeah, but they don't have water lines in.
No, everything's stubbed.
Have
They're
water,
ready,
power,
they're ready to go.
everything there.
They're ready to build. And that's the problem, is that how many what do we have for land comparables right now to set that lot value?
It's really hard because contractors usually will contract the full price of land and
But
improvement.
that still counts as an arm's length transaction, and you
Oh,
cannot not do that. And so that's the
absolutely,
problem.
yes.
If they're saying if they're selling them for 84,000 right now, or 90,000 even, and we're assessing at 109, and we've used comparables, even if you're using, because then I'm assuming that, how did they arrive at 109,000 for the land? Did we just schedule that? Was that an automatic adjustment, or was that a percentage of the that's what I'm saying.
no, I'm not disagreeing.
And I don't know
I'm not
how do we
disagreeing
get,
with you.
that's the problem, is your house is
We
in the
have an
market.
individual that has appealed, so we're not talking about the others right
Yeah,
now.
we're just
No, on what
talking
you're
about the
saying.
land itself.
So, give me a motion.
All right, here we go. We'll see if it goes up or goes down. Mr. Chairman, I move on parcel RPH. I can't, what is that, 11?
I won.
I-1002300. that the improvements stay the same, but the land value be moved to $84,000.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then just to make me feel better, will you guys look at all those lots up there and
Please do something, because this is, I mean, I don't know what to say with that up there.
Yeah, the lot above us that they're building on now, it sold for $100,000, but it was 1 acre.
Yeah.
It was twice the
It's a
size.
big lot.
Yeah,
Okay, so we've made a decision.
okay,
You have the ability to appeal, and so does the assessor. You've heard my spiel.
okay, great.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
This is the last one at this time.
Good to see you again.
We have two more.